Hi.
What's up, everyone? If you've been following our rants about Healy and frequencies and aliens and stuff, today's going to be no different. We kind of ended up last time talking about a lot of stuff. We started with the double slit theory and quantum mechanics, and that kind of exploded into a bunch of other topics. If you are new to watching Joe and I, um, we've decided to go on this journey with this device because it's so, in my mind, both of our minds, pretty revolutionary and has been really helpful to us. And I just want to say we're not just here to sell a product. We're here because we believe in it so much that we are inspired and want to talk about it. And yeah, so this device is a microcurrent device that delivers frequencies to your body. That is the kind of blanket statement. But I would even go further and say that it is a bridge between spirituality and science. It's the beginning of a conversation. It's not only frequencies for your body, your physical body, but frequencies for your bioenergetic body, which extends up to 9 feet past your body. So I would even go further to say that it supports your emotional, physical, mental bodies. All of it is frequency. And this device interfaces with all of that through frequencies and through programs that you run through your phone that connect to this device that then deliver to your body. There's other ways to deliver the frequencies, but I'm just kind of doing a recap for those of you that have never heard that part about Healy. And the reason why we talk about Healy is because Joe and I both went to school for audio engineering here in Florida, which obviously had an extensive education about frequencies and sound. And the power of sound and music, I think, is undisputed between anybody saying, that music can put you in a better mood or a worse mood because they are just frequencies. So, yeah, I think we left off last time when we were talking about quantum mechanics and the observer effect and the fact that we all have the ability to and power to use our energy to create our reality. And the observer effect and the double slit experiment that was done in the 1920s still baffles scientists today. And um, yeah, that's the recap.
I was thinking, like, when you said, we start off with the observer effect yesterday, and then that led into a bunch of other things, and then we ended up with like UFOs. Um, th- this what happened yesterday, and what happens a lot on this podcast is you call it free flow, and that is what it is. But it's also what Tesla had said, and he said, if you want to know more about the universe, study frequencies and energy, right? Something along those lines,
Yeah.
right? So,
If
so
you want to know the secrets of the universe,
there-
look look at
ah,
vibration, frequency, and energy. I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
is the real close
So,
enough.
so yes, he said that a long time ago, and what we're doing on this podcast is actually proving that, because we'll start off talking about quantum mechanics, or some other kind of particle thing, or wavelength or something like that, and it'll lead into relationships, right? It'll lead into culture, or whatever. It's like literally the foundation of any topic. So this podcast is literally about everything.
Hey, and speaking of that, I really think that have you seen Everything All at Once?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's pretty cool.
yeah, that movie just like I heard swept the Oscars
Mm.
and
Which is
won
great.
all the awards, and I think that it should have, because that movie was incredible. It's amazing, and it actually shows, different dimensions,
Hmm.
different time jumps, and the idea that there could be a matrix, a glitch in the matrix, or you know,
Honestly, I have to watch it again because it's so like so much stuff going on in that movie that I don't even remember the movie really. And I
yeah,
just watched it like 3 months ago.
yeah, dude, I loved it. I love the movie. I love it, and I think everyone should go out and watch it if you
Yeah,
haven't seen
for
it.
sure.
I mean, just the hot dog fingers alone were like everything.
Because
Like,
there's a universe where, or a dimension where everybody has hot dog fingers, right?
it could happen. How do we know? That it's not out there.
Can be anything.
Totally.
Um, so yeah, I don't know really what you wanted to focus on today, but I'm down for whatever. If you got like a topic, and we'll just shoot down that rabbit hole, or if not, then we can just figure something out.
Well, I think we may have a special guest today for a few minutes.
Oh, right, right, right.
We have a
I,
friend in Budapest
yeah,
that,
he's not on yet, but
yeah,
hopefully
are
he
you,
pops in.
yeah, which would be cool. The very person that introduced Healy to me on a plane in a very synchronistic way. I still keep in touch with him, and he may come on and talk about Healy for a little bit. He knows a lot more than we do about the company, and about things that are happening, and new products that are being launched, and where the company's going, which is really exciting because, um, you know, we don't really hear about this kind of technology here,
Mm,
and it's not necessarily a popular thing. And I say that because it's so interesting, when you watch TV, that every other commercial is a pharmaceutical commercial. It's about some medical claim that it's telling you to go out and ask your doctor about and go get these pills for. And why don't we have, an alternative to that? We don't ever show people. There's nothing on mainstream that shows an alternative, and obviously we know, because they're making trillions of dollars selling these drugs. You can't make trillions of dollars selling a plant or natural remedies, but I digress. This is just another way to heal yourself, and we should be talking about it more, and that's the whole point, that we are talking about different ways to heal yourself, different ways to look at your body and that your energy, and not just a physical body that needs to take pills to heal itself. And
right.
I think it's cool that this company out of Germany, and obviously a lot of the countries over in Eastern Europe, and I know my experience with Australia and New Zealand, that they're more interested in natural healing, alternative medicine, as we call it here in the West, when it's their everyday medicine. They go preventative first before they take pills, and we're just the opposite. We take the pills first and then think about prevention or preventative ways, sometimes when it's too late, because, you know, we've taken all these pills.
Yeah, yeah. It's slowly coming around, I think, here in America, and obviously, Healy is part of that movement in functional medicine and chiropractors and all this other stuff. Um, and we're doing our part right now with this podcast, and that's the best we can do. um, what was I was gonna talk about something. I forgot now. Huh? It's gone.
Sorry. What, your thought?
Huh?
Your thought?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say something and I forgot now. But sorry.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the conversation that we had yesterday was pretty out there, but not out there. When you talk about the idea that we all have the power to influence our reality, and that the double slit theory points to the fact that the mere observation of subatomic particles changes the outcome of the experiment. Meaning, when we look at the subatomic particles, they act as a particle, or they act as matter, something that we would see as, solid matter behaving in a Newtonian physics way. And when we don't look at the experiment and then we go back and look at the end result, it appears as a wave, which is energy, frequency, vibration.
Hmm.
So it's just so fascinating to me that we still haven't figured it out. It's been 100 years, and maybe we have figured it out. We just don't want. They just haven't, given us the results because they're too powerful. And
Who
my
knows?
conspiracy brain goes like, control, control, or who knows?
I wanted to mention that, and you and I got to talk about when we want to get him on, but my numerologist, Wes Hamilton, he wants to come on the podcast. So probably, maybe next week or something, we can have him on. But he wants to talk about how, numbers have a specific vibration, um, just like in Dr. Emoto's experiments with the frozen droplets of water. You freeze a droplet of water. If you're sending it a word like love or hate or whatever, it actually freezes into a specific shape, and it's consistent every single time. Love is the exact same shape over and over and over again. Um, so he's also, what he's saying with numerology is that the number one is a consistent frequency all the time. The number two is the same thing. It's a different frequency. Three, all the way up to nine. And then you get the master numbers 11, 22, and 33. And I think it would be a good conversation for us to kind of talk like from our perspective of like understanding frequencies and sound and stuff like that, and then his perspective of the research that he's done into like the Pythagoras, who invented the Western numerology, and all that. That's where like Pythagoras is where science meets the spirituality, right? Where he's created a tangible uh, understanding of what these frequencies mean in this reality.
Yeah,
But
when you break down everything in the world, it does, you can break it down into numbers, right?
yeah, and I was telling him about the Healy, and he's like, "Yeah, I've seen devices like that before," and but basically he wasn't he didn't seem impressed, but like at the same time he was like, "That's great that this technology is like coming about and it's more popular," but he was basically like, this is all written in the stars already. All this information that you're getting from the Healy is already like, it through numerology already about a person, right?
True.
You can
Yeah.
even get down to, if you're if you really deeply understand numerology, get down to the whole um, health factors of like the physical health of a person through numerology, and types of vitamins they need and all this other stuff. So the Healy and numerology are tapping into the same thing.
Yeah, the quantum field, right? The field
Yeah.
that's all around us. Numerology comes from looking at patterns in the universe, and there's you if you study nature closely enough for enough time, you'll find patterns in everything,
Hmm.
everywhere,
Hmm.
all at once. See what I did there?
That like spiral, like the shell, the seashell, right?
Yeah, the Fibonacci sequence is in the Nautilus shell, and there's all sorts of examples in nature of the golden mean and sacred geometry. I mean, it goes beyond my understanding, but I've dabbled a little bit in there just because I find astrology and numerology fascinating. It's pretty on point. I feel like astrology is kind of this blanket idea of your personality, whereas numerology really gets into some specifics that are pretty dead on as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. astrology is. I agree, but there, with astrology, you can also get pretty deep, like with the natal chart and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and it's all because it's all related. It's all the same thing, and the Healy is the same thing. It's all related. Um, yeah, so I think that that'll be a good conversation. Nice, we can break it up with a guest, and that should be fun. Who
yeah,
knows where that's going to go?
definitely.
Yeah.
Do we want to like play some videos, or I really feel like watching one of these uh, the Power of Healy video is really good.
Yeah.
You want
Do
to
you
see
have it
this?
pulled up?
I can in just a second here. Um, just because I really feel like we can talk about it all day long, but some people have done it a little bit more succinctly, and I think that may be helpful just to see. So let me open it up into
Here,
there we go. Now I think I can share this if I'm smart.
Whatever you did yesterday
Yeah,
worked.
yeah, that's it.
I don't. Oh, there we go. There it is.
Yeah.
Healy is a holistic wearable microcurrent device that supports your bioenergetic field, health, and well-being. Healy is medically proven to help with anxiety, depression, migraines, also supporting insomnia, chronic pain, balancing emotions, hormones, stress, allergies, skin, and much more. Healy is revolutionary because it enables one to heal themselves and others with time-wavered technology and is the only device in the world that has an inbuilt quantum sensor. To evolve, you must wake up and accept that you are creating your problems and you are the only one that can transform them.
Whoa.
The Healy is a wonderful tool that will help you break free from your brain-fogging trauma story, further enabling you to see things clearly and intuitively. Healy will increase your joy, peace, and happiness. Improve your current state physically,
That guy
mentally,
happy or mad?
spiritually,
He
and
looks
emotionally.
he looks pretty happy.
Reduce your worry, fear, confusion, and suffering. Balance your emotions, nerves, and brainwaves. Prolong the REM stage of the sleep cycle, helping you experience a deep and rejuvenating sleep.
That's true.
Increase your energy, focus, and mental clarity. Overall, you will become more aware of what's going on inside you. This increased awareness allows you to expand your consciousness, become more intuitive, and have a greater level of discernment. You will then be able to start selecting the right emotions and thoughts, as opposed to entering a reactive default mechanism. Healy's job is to find and remove your old, outdated programs and negative energetic patterns that are causing distortion within your bioenergetic field, to then allow you to access your higher dimensional energy and information fields. Your body is made of cells. Cells are made of molecules. Molecules are made of atoms, and atoms are made from subatomic particles, which are forms of energy. The energy world influences, impacts, and masters your physical world. You are not a body with an energy field. You're an energy field with a body. Your cell health is influenced by microcurrent voltages, which in turn are influenced by frequencies. When your body receives harmonic frequencies, your cells are happy and they heal. When your body receives distorted frequencies, your cells are unhappy and they break down.
It's like
If you
Dr.
can raise your
Emoto.
own vibration and consciousness, you can then broadcast high vibrational mirror neurons and assist those around you to raise theirs. Frequency medicine is the most powerful form of healing in all aspects of your being. Future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. Albert Einstein. Healy is the most advanced quantum healing technology available to mankind today. It has the ability to accurately identify your body's bioenergetic weakness and broadcast the treatment immediately. Integrate more of your soul energy into your physical body and raise your consciousness. Be a part of the solution and empower others to begin healing themselves. Without health, there is no wealth. It's time for people to take back their power as a divine sovereign being and stand in the flame of truth, freedom, and love. Epigenetics is an emerging field of science that studies hereditable changes caused by the activation and deactivation of genes without any change in the underlying DNA sequence of the organism. Lifestyle and perception is changing our DNA. We become like those we surround ourselves with. A mirror neuron is a neuron that fires both when an animal acts and when the animal observes the same action performed by another. Mirror neurons allow us to learn through imitation. They enable us to reflect body language, facial expressions, and emotions. Mirror neurons play an essential part in our social life. They are key for child development as well as relationships and education. How we think of ourselves is changing every cell in our body. Just by observing something, you start changing it. If you wake up feeling tired, just one positive thought will send ripples throughout the quantum field, further changing everything around you. You can change your reality by changing your thoughts. Bruce Lipton. There is a pure connection between observer and matter. Human consciousness has an effect on the molecular structure of water. If thoughts do this to water, and our body is over 90% water, just imagine what we are doing to our body with our thoughts. Dr. Masaru Emoto. Our attention span is between 6 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
To tap into the quantum field, we must improve our attention span. Only then can we start observing and influencing the quantum field, further molding reality around us. Attention is created through intention. The power of attention and intention is what the quantum field is all about. Science is proving that our body's ability to heal and repair itself is greatly affected by our beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and intentions, for they have profound vibrational effect upon our continually evolving genetic code. We are not controlled by genes like computer programs are controlled by code. This is a fallacy propagated by Darwinian-based scientism for almost 2 centuries. Genes are biological tendency for expression. Changing our state of consciousness can influence or even change completely the tendency for expression.
Yeah, I don't know.
When we do this, our code can actually be rewritten.
You don't know?
And a different manifestation can be expressed.
Oh, it's almost over. Okay.
There's literally like 20 seconds left.
All right. Keep it playing then.
We are not the code, for we are the composers of the code. I believe the human being is an instrument for the collective soul to sing through. We are all a part of the greatest orchestra performing the most dramatic song continuously being composed by the notes we choose to play. When an instrument is tuned, harmonic resonance becomes an organizing force that transcends all other forces in the physical world. Join me and start harmonizing your body's frequency with Healy. Together we can empower others to heal themselves and change the world one person at a time. The time is now.
Did somebody, you know, who made that video?
I don't know. Oh, do you hear that?
Yeah, what is that?
Just some frequencies, you know.
Oh.
A friend of Peter's, or Peter had it on his page. I don't know if he actually knows him, but he obviously made that video. It's got a lot of pictures of himself, but I think the message was there. We've, you know, like the message is fully there. All the stuff that we talked about is in there.
It's like, so it's this is the thing about frequencies and Healy and all this other stuff. It was like, there's no real simple way to talk about it. You just start talking and then you just go down the rabbit hole because it's never ending. It's like almost like infinite, the topics and what you can get into as you're going down, and then once you get down that rabbit hole, there's like it splits off, and then there's a bunch of other rabbit holes you can go down.
Well, yeah, I mean, it always goes back to the you know, the observer effect or quantum mechanics, and the fact that, I mean, it is a fact that if you're observing it, it acts as a particle. If you're not observing it, it acts as a wave. So that study alone just blows the roof off of the idea that we're just a victim to our lives. Like, we actually have, I mean, a lot of people in religions will say free will. I think that's part of it, that we have the ability to make decisions and choices, and those decisions and choices have actions in our lives. And if you go down to that quantum level, it's way more powerful than that. We not only just have the free will to make a choice, we can create reality. We're all creators. We're all co-creating together. We can feel each other's energy, and I feel like that's just the beginning of this maybe shift in consciousness that everybody has, and awareness of our ability to do that. If we were all aware, I just can't even imagine, because we don't live in that world. And I
Right.
feel like us talking about it every day is a constant reminder of what we can do and who we really are, as opposed to when you walk out into the world, we don't get that feeling.
Yeah,
We don't
speaking
get
of like the past couple of days of just us talking and the stuff that we've been talking about and the awareness, it's made me start thinking about my meditations differently. Because prior to a couple days ago, I would always do like these guided meditations, specifically through. I got these meditations through my numerologist, so they have to do with like my specific frequency and harmonizing and all that other stuff, which is great, right? But now I'm trying to like, it's like being aware, but not being aware, like
yeah.
just being just being, and you're doing it because you want your inner energy to be aware, but consciously you kind of have to disconnect to really connect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that to me, like, when people always throw around the idea of mind, body, spirit, but if we really break that down, those really are three separate things. And I think that that's what it is getting. Like, meditation gets you to realize that our mind is constantly thinking, and sometimes it gets in the way of our spiritual self or our
Right.
higher self. And that spiritual self, that higher self, is a higher consciousness, a different consciousness. It's almost, when they talk about the observer effect, that you're able to observe yourself
Mm.
meditating. When you're sitting there, that's your body that you're in. It's a vessel. We are, that quote that people always say, we are we're not a human body having a human experience. We are a uh, spiritual body having a.
You're really
Okay,
on top of the quotes today.
I know, right? Always. Let me. I'm not gonna butcher it. I'm gonna find it, because it really does. Like, it really
A
rings.
celestial, right? Isn't it celestial? But being inside of a body or something.
We are not human beings in search of a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings immersed in a human experience.
Hmm.
That's kind of the quote. Or, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's
Hmm.
it. That's well, I'm gonna pop that. I'm gonna pop that up here. We're gonna see it, because I can do that.
Oh, there you go.
Did I do it? Did I do it?
There it is.
We are not human beings having a spiritual experience, a, but our spiritual beings having a human experience. And that, to me, is like our mental our mental state is different to our spiritual state. And
Hmm.
it's when you meditate, you feel that difference.
Yeah, when in numerology, at least through my numerologist, the goal was to, for me, was to, connect to my spiritual self, or connect to outer energies, right? And then bring those things back to earth and then manifest them. I mean, essentially, that's how everything works. Because take a, I don't know, take a Elon Musk, right? He thinks of things and then creates them, right? I mean, that's like a very public person to have an example of, but we all do that, right? He just does it on a higher level, which is of greater value to more humans, right?
That's true.
But we all have value to give to everybody else. We just have to connect to what it is, who we are, who we truly are, and then express that in this plane, this physical plane, right? Um, but yeah, that's what I've been thinking about more of, like, when I'm doing meditations is just really just disconnecting, because I find that that's when I really get to that, like, out of body experience of, like, not, and I can do it faster without somebody like talking in my ear, and I'm supposed to be like activating these different chakras and doing all this other stuff. Like, I think that's good for maybe people that, are first starting, they're trying to figure out what the process is to get to there. But I feel like I'm beyond that now, and I need to just get out and then come back,
Yep. Find a way that works for you, right?
Yeah, and everybody, it's everybody does it however they do it. I guess the goal is to somehow connect to that spiritual thing, that energy. There's the thing that Healy and numerology are actively connecting to all the time. Like, we can connect to it as well.
Yeah, it's like that idea that God just isn't in church, it's everywhere, you know.
Mm.
God is source. Source is infinite consciousness that we're all connected to, and we have the ability to connect to that at all times. But there are a lot of distractions, and I think our mental state gets in the way of things, and we have to bypass that through meditation
Mm.
to connect. And it's really about, right, like opening your heart and being open to receiving the information.
Do you think
uh,
it's possible to, like, um, to be in both places at once,
of course.
like, all the time?
I actually was thinking about that today.
Hmm.
So, like, when we ended our conversation yesterday about the, if we're observing something and it's a particle and we don't observe it, then it acts like a wave. And a particle is finite, or a wave is infinite.
Hmm.
So, I wrote down in my, it's kind of like a planner, but a journal at the same time. I wrote down, when am I a particle and when am I a wave? And I was really thinking about that. I was like, can I be a particle? Can I, as a person, because I'm made up of subatomic particles? And then we looked at those subatomic particles, and it's just space, empty space.
Hmm.
It's 99%, 99.9% empty space, and just energy and electricity flowing through there. So when do I behave as a particle, as a person, and when do I behave as a wave? And when you're talking about being in a meditative state, is that when we become a wave, where we're
Hmm.
open and we're one with that source,
Yeah.
and we don't feel like we're just our body, and we don't feel like we're just our mind. We feel like we're spiritual beings having a human experience as opposed to human beings having a spiritual experience.
Right. Right. And I think we are always like connected somehow, but I think the ratio has gone way off, over the past whatever 10,000 years or something like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've gone more mental, right? Like everything
yeah.
is, we have to rationalize, we need hard science, we need the answer, and the answer has to be black and white, and that's it. And we all know that life in our everyday life is way more complex than a black and white answer. So why wouldn't this be any different?
Yo, here's a crazy thought that I just came up with. Maybe you were talking about yesterday that you think it's possible that we are the aliens, right? Maybe another civilization figured out how to focus their attention and beam their energy to this planet and then inject it into individuals, right? They found I don't know, this is way off the top of my head.
Dude,
Big,
that's
super
isn't that what
conspiracy theory,
that's what
right?
channeling is. That's when people channel other entities from different planets. People do that all the time. Whether people believe it or is true or not is a whole nother thing. But people claim that they can get into a meditative state, and because they match the resonance of another being on another planet in another dimension, they can then channel that information. If you've ever heard of Delores Cannon, holy shit, man, that is some mind-blowing stuff.
What does she talk about? Who's this?
Delores Cannon started doing it was called, it's going to be like the quote, I'm just totally going to butcher it. Hold on, because I don't want to butcher it, so let me just find what it's called. It's a type of hypnosis that she was her and a lot of people, I want to say after World War One or World War Two, got into to try and help soldiers come down from the war. So they were just trying to hypnotize them and get them to calm down and process what had happened.
Oh, sorry.
And it's called QHHT hypnosis, or yeah. And what was happening is she was getting these people in such deep trance states that it became more than hypnosis, and people started speaking in different like tones of voice and started saying things that were not the person that was lying on that couch that she started with in the hypnosis process.
Oh.
And as this started happening over time, the same message would happen through different people on her couch, as if a being from somewhere else was communicating to her through all the people that she had gone put into this trance state for hypnosis therapy. So this happened over the course of her entire lifetime. She's just passed, unfortunately, a few years ago. But she spent, I think, 40 plus years doing this, and she's written all these books. And it's for her, the story is believable because she didn't believe it. She went in to help people medically deal with their trauma in a way that she read in a book and through hypnosis. But then this whole other thing came out of it, and it was the like entities giving her messages from different dimensions and basically telling us humans how to live our lives better. And it all like boils down to just love, that if we all learned how to love and we all learned how to properly deal with our emotions, that we would be living on heaven on earth. And this message that it was her whole life. I don't know, did you
Yeah.
just pull up a video?
Yeah, I'm looking now. I'm trying to find like
Something that's short.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything you like. She's got so
Yeah.
much content. It's
Oh,
crazy.
dude,
Never even heard of this lady.
the rabbit hole that is Delores Cannon will blow your mind. And she's very
Hi, we are so
This one has the most views probably. So let's hold on.
How long is it?
It's like 3 or 4. It's 4 minutes. So
Oh, cool. See what
Yeah.
it is.
yeah. Hold on.
I like this video share watch situation.
Okay. Where the fuck is it? I guess I could just play it like that, right?
Yeah, and then go full screen.
Can you hear it?
And I have clients that say, I can't forgive them. You don't know what they did to me.
Can you hear?
I think it's going through only your speakers through your microphone, but it's not. I can't.
Yeah, why?
Hear.
Yeah, why doesn't it play through here?
Send it to me, because I feel like you have a studio hooked up there, and your audio is probably not sending
I don't know
out
what's going on.
to the audience. Because I have such a simple little system. You heard my audio well, yeah? When I played the
Yeah, it
video?
did sound good. So what? Yeah, what's up with that?
I think it's just because your audio is set up in your studio, and your output is going through an audio interface, I think.
Oh, right. So yours is just going through your laptop and then back in?
Yeah, I'm literally just using my laptop.
Yeah.
Did you just send it to me?
Yeah, I texted it. Or I guess I could send it through here, so it'd be easier.
You have to release it, or you're not going to go.
Here we go. Are you seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
You have to release it, or you're not going to go. And I have clients that say, I can't forgive them. You don't know what they did to me. But as long as they think like that, they are holding on to karma. You're going to have to come back and do it again with the same people, same circumstances, only worse next time.
Oh.
So what we told people, you've got to let it go. And I tell my clients this all the time. This is usually the cause of their illness. It's the cause of all their problems. Holding on to all the garbage and the junk and the baggage that we carry around with us.
Poisons us on every level.
That's what I say.
Whoa.
It gets to the point that it doesn't matter if you were abused as a child. You got to let it go. Doesn't matter if your husband beat you up. You got to let it go. And people, you have to forgive. You have to release it, or you're not going to go. And I have clients that say, I can't forgive them. You don't know what they did to me. But as long as they think like that, they are holding on to karma. You're going to have to come back and do it again with the same people, same circumstances, only worse next time. And it's not easy, because we do carry all this baggage around with us. And you have to let it go. And you'll feel such a wonderful relief when you do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I tell people what you have to do, even if the person you're angry at and have all these bad feelings, even if they have already left the earth, if they've died, you can still release this karma. You don't have to go to the person and face them face to face. That's very hard to do. You can do it mentally. And when you come into this earth, you make contracts with all of these people that you're going to try to work these things out. We get here, it's not that easy, and it doesn't always happen. We get stuck in the same rut again. So I tell them, when you're going to do this, picture yourself tearing up the contract with that person. Tell them, we tried. You do this mentally. We tried, we really tried, it didn't work. Let's tear up the contract, and you see yourself tearing it up and throwing it away. and you say, I forgive you, I release you, I let you go. You go your way, I'll go mine. We don't have to be connected anymore at all. And you've got
I
to
mean,
mean it.
this is
You've got to
this is
believe
great
it.
information, but it's not really
And
like describing what you were talking about with her.
Yeah, I mean, because she did this for her lifetime, like I said, and the messages came through, and then her books. Now this is just about some of the messages that have come through, what they've through her transcendental patience state have channeled, and these are the messages. So
That's what they're telling her. These types of things is what they're telling her. Okay.
correct, these are the kinds of lessons that are coming through people that you know have never spoken like this ever before, and telling Dolores basically to write it down and add it to her book.
Hmm.
So I don't know where this video in particular came from. We should probably do a little bit better.
Yeah, no. I was
But
looking for a video that describes what she's done, like her work, and
yeah, maybe we could do that for next time. So we
yeah.
actually, because I mean, she literally has hundreds of videos out there and has written tons of books. And really, just going back to what we just had that quote up there. We are spiritual beings having a human experience down here, and through this human experience, we are, in that video, releasing karma or working through it. And I believe that. I believe that we are here for a reason, and we came down here to do things. And we always talk about our purpose, and aligning with that and figuring out what it is that we're passionate about. All of that aligns with me, but it does go way deeper with her if you go down the Delores Cannon rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see there's literally like a million videos. That video right there had over 1 million views.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and it's really heavy and it's really deep. Like that particular video is pretty heavy, saying like if you have been abused, or if bad things have happened to you and you're holding on to anger at one person, you have to forgive that person and let it go, and that's really easy to say, but not easy to do. But those are the kinds of lessons and spiritual teachings that she was getting through the hypnosis patients.
Interesting.
And you were just saying, do you think people can get messages from other dimensions? And that's basically that's what channeling is. That's what people claim, that they do get messages from either other entities or other beings from different planets. And it's up to you to decide. And for me, I feel like saying that out loud sounds crazy, but when you hear the messages, they really do resonate deep, like deep within my spiritual core. A lot of those lessons really do resonate. I've watched some people channel messages, and they're always positive. They're always about great things that we need to do as a humanity to raise our vibration and be better people, and let go of negative emotions that don't serve us anymore, and try and move beyond it to be better people in our lives.
That's something I think about too, is emotions. It's a very human thing, because nature and energy, it's kind of black and white, right? It's like it's either this or it's not that, right? Um,
Or it's
em-
emotionless, right? Maybe you could
Kind of. It just
person
it
doesn't
just
have emotion.
is, like, things just are, right? Like there is no middle ground, really. Where I think emotions come into play when there is a middle ground. I don't know. I'm just talking off the top of the head, but it's a very human thing. But if you're like with any topic, like you go to therapy, you go to some sort of course on figuring out how to build a business or whatever, right? if you're trying to do anything productive in life, relationship, anything, actually, relationship would probably be a better topic because there is a lot of emotion in relationships, right?
Yeah.
But like logically, and um, if you took the numerology route and you understood two people numerologically on how they actually are and what they're meant to do in life, and if each of those people understood that about each other, like deeply, innately, and they really believed it, and they said, "All right, the universe has clearly already written this in the stars. You're going. This is how you act. This is how you react to things, or create things, or whatever. And this is how I do it." And then if we all just knew that about each other, then you'd see Johnny like doing his thing, and you just be like, well, that's how he is because he's whatever a 4 or something, and he emotionally reacts to situations. So we'd just be like, well, okay, well, let me know when you want to talk or whatever, instead of being like, what the fuck, Johnny? Why are you talking to me like that? Like, and then reacting to his reaction, and then that's where the emotion shit is, right? Uh, but if we knew ourselves and knew each other better to this level, to the fucking observation effect level, you know, then there would be no confusion on anything. Like you don't, I don't know, maybe they do, but if you ever like observe like ants, or have you ever seen like a nature channel and they kind of like go into like the ant colonies and stuff, and like each ant has their own job, and if you're this type of ant, you're doing this or whatever. They're just living their lives, right? They're never like arguing or anything. They're just doing their part for the better good of everybody else, and they're happy with whatever they're doing because that's what they love doing. You know, that's how
Same with like bees, right?
everything. It's the same thing
Right.
with everything, right?
Everything in nature except us.
Yeah, we don't like accept everybody. I mean, I get it. It's way more complicated because we have more. I think what happens now at this point in human history is we have way too much time on our hands.
Yeah.
Like nobody talked about any of this shit in like the early like 1400s or 1500s or something like that, right? Because they were too busy trying to stay alive, right?
It's true. Yeah.
They didn't
So
have
true.
time to be like think about all this stuff. So that's, I think, they were probably less emotional back then, just out of nature, right? Like just because you're more connected to nature probably as well. And I'm not saying emotions are a bad thing or a good thing. It's actually good to get in touch, but like I think a lot of emotions are reactions to other people's things. What do you think?
I think that there's negative and positive emotions.
But are they could all be based on environmental things that are going on outside of you, because you can choose at any moment to like not care that somebody just called you an asshole, or not care that somebody just punched you in the face, or even not care that somebody said that they love you if you wanted to. Or you could take that energy in and say thank you, and that, I guess, that's another emotion. You're feeling the love, right? But it's love is the only one that's, I think, love is the human vibration, emotion, connection. I think maybe that's why.
I feel like you're really,
Am I
really
really,
vamping here.
am I really going deep?
No,
Just
you just
off
like,
the top of the head of like God knows what.
yeah. I feel like, no, I feel like all emotions are emotions. They're all human emotions. It's part of the human experience is to have emotions. I think the ability to have the gamut of emotions from anger to love or to hate to jealousy to joy to bliss. All of those are human experiences that we have through emotions. And I think that there's nothing wrong with the gamut of emotions that we have, but I would also argue that some emotions serve us better than others. You know, if I am to be if I feel jealousy towards you, I don't think that serves me or you. It's an emotion that I can feel, choose to feel. I can choose to feel jealousy, but I think that's also an awareness, right? Some people are aware that the emotions are happening, and or I should say, some people allow emotions to control them, and some people are in control of their emotions. And the Dalai Lama wrote a book called Negative Emotions that's really all about this, and it's amazing. It's so insightful into the human experience, and it never makes it bad to have emotions, but just points out the fact that we do have emotions and they do happen, and it may be better if we were in control of our emotions as opposed to our emotions controlling us. And I think a lot of the negative emotions that can happen um, end up being more destructive to the person having that emotion
Right.
and the ones around them, as opposed to a constructive emotion like love or joy. Because when you're feeling love or joy or bliss, nobody generally gets hurt physically or
Right.
emotionally around you. But if you are having a negative emotion like jealousy or anger or hatred towards somebody, it generally doesn't end well for both parties. And you hold on to, like that video we just watched with Delores Cannon,
Yeah.
you hold on to those negative emotions.
It's mostly for yourself. It doesn't end up well. The other
Yeah,
person goes on living their life, you know?
yeah. And there's another book called so The Negative Emotions by the Dalai Lama, and um, the biology, no, not biology, I believe, Molecules of Emotion by Candice Pert. They talk about the science behind emotions, that in our body, we actually release hormones within our system and chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin. Um, those are generally the feel good endorphins, the feel good chemicals that get released in our body to feel those amazing emotions.
Right.
Conversely,
Serotonin.
we have, yeah, serotonin. We have negative emotions attached to negative hormones. And we also know that if you hold on to that for a long time, like cortisol, which produces stress in the body, that becomes a physicalized illness or a disease. So a lot of people in that field call disease dis-ease. When you're at dis-ease with something, having a negative emotion, a negative experience, and you hold on to that for long enough, it becomes physicalized in the body as an illness or a sickness.
What do you think, like, that it comes from? So going back, like I said, like going back even way back, like caveman days, right? The, I'm sure. I mean, obviously, this is all theoretical, but I'm sure they had love and anger, right? I feel like we have more emotions now than we would have that were necessary back then, right? Mostly because of the free time we have, because of you know, foods that we've been able to create for the masses to go to the grocery store, and you don't have to go. We don't have to worry about hunting anymore. All this other shit, right? So like there was probably emotions back then that less emotions back then than there are now. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Maybe.
then they've
I,
developed.
well, I think humans have evolved over time. I would agree with that statement, and I would agree that maybe the amount of emotions in between, have become more complex because we've become more complex. Like with all the different scenarios that present themselves in the human experience, we are then able to feel different shades of jealousy, different shades
Right.
of love, different, you know.
Well, where I was going with that was like, all right, if I'm not sure, like if you were like, no, we probably did have all these emotions, but they weren't as prevalent, and maybe that is what you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like the
Okay. So
like the idea of being jealous over something back in the day was probably a lot more simpler than it is now. It's more complex because life is more complex. We have so much more going on in our lives, in our human experience than we did back then. We're basically, like you said, trying to survive, like picking
right,
berries and
I always
hunting.
take it back to that point because it's like the evolution happens because of necessity of like survival, right? Keep moving the species forward, right? So like what what was the purpose of, I don't know, sadness or anger back in like caveman days? You know what I'm saying?
This is a whole nother rabbit hole that we have just jumped into trying to. Well, before I forget this thought, though,
Okay.
because I've already pretty much forgot it, so let me go back.
We should just call this show the rabbit hole.
I know. Um, yeah, God, it was such a good point, but then I was trying to go down that rabbit hole with you, and it was so different to what I was just gonna say. Maybe it's just not that important.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
I'm known for that. Or I'll think of like the 4 steps beyond what we were even talking about. And then we
Yeah.
I don't know. With that,
Yeah.
maybe this is the end of this podcast today.
Yeah. On that, I actually do have to get ready and go anyway.
Yeah, I
But
gotta get going.
this was good. I think we talked about some fun stuff. I think I would recap in saying watch some videos on the double slit observation theory. If you're interested, check out that book by Candice Pert,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Dalai Lama book.
and the Dalai Lama book on negative emotions, because we talked about a lot of stuff there, and it's
And then
really
Delores Cannon.
oh yeah, man, Delores Cannon. Delores Cannon, I would say do that first because that is just like a.
Did you already forget about this? We're like still in the podcast and we've talked about so much stuff. We forgot
That's
about
well, it's actually breaking my brain because I was not prepared to go to the depths of there because I read both of those books and the particularly the Dolores Cannon rabbit hole is like life changing if you actually go down and you really watch the videos and how sincere she is about not believing what she was actually experiencing.
Mm,
She was not believing that this was happening and she couldn't explain it. And then now to, just believing it obviously and then making those videos that you saw where she's putting the messages out because she believes in the messages that came through so much.
mm.
And then the book about Candice Pert really bringing down human emotions to chemicals in our body and how that manifests into physical things. And that, to me, it just makes sense.
Right. That's how I got back to where I was going with the whole caveman thing, right? So there's these chemicals, which is like natural things that are happening in your body, and there's a purpose for them, right? That maybe right now we don't utilize that purpose because there's so many different avenues and different nuances of each emotion, right? But at some point in human history, there was a purpose. Like cortisol, shit your pants because there's a bear coming at you, right?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? There's purpose for everything that happens. So I was just wanting to go down that. Maybe that's another podcast.
Yeah, I mean, and just in particular, cortisol alone is the killer in Western society because of the amount of stress that we're all under all the time is as if we are running from a bear all the
Right.
time.
Right.
And
So we just
those,
have different new perceptions of fear, right?
yeah, and those
Like
elevated levels
survival.
of cortisol in our body are scientifically proven to not be healthy. They're not good for us, and they are causing us to have lots of different sicknesses, illness, central nervous system problems, problems with our brain and mind. And yeah, we really need to end this because we're going to be like another 2 hours if we just keep going down this path.
Yeah. But
And I don't have that time.
we should do a podcast like soon, one of our next ones, like where it's just we don't have like a time limit. Like I know it's always usually based on me, but maybe even
Well,
this this weekend, what are you doing this weekend? You busy?
everything, all of it, all at
You're
once.
you're busy this weekend? Okay. Cuz
Yeah.
yeah, the
Maybe
family.
Sunday,
All
but
right.
I don't want to commit to anything
All right, all right.
over
Well,
live. And there are
yeah.
3 people that are watching.
They're going to be like you said, David. All right.
And if you're watching, I'm really glad that you're watching.
Yes.
Stay with us. We'll get better at this. But yeah, because I want to have Zach and Peter on, and we need to really I really want to talk about the company Healy and just more stuff in depth, that stuff that we don't even know, and that's the thing that they can provide that we don't have. And then also us 4 guys just being in different places in the country and world for that matter will just be really fun and interesting.
Yeah. We did have a podcast with Peter before though, right? It was like one of our first ones, I think.
Yeah, I think he was on. He popped on our second. He was in Colombia at the time. Now he's in Hungary. He's always traveling the world, and he's done a lot of stuff with Healy, which has allowed him to have a lot of freedom of choice in life, which is incredible. And yeah, just
so you guys can go back and kind of get an understanding of what he's about from, I believe it was the second podcast.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll see you next time.
Until then,
peace.
We're the Frequency Project, signing off. Turning off all frequencies now.
They never turn off. They're always going.
Damn.
All right.
I'll see you later, brother.